Hello dear viewers, welcome to TV Math. This is your study pattern for competitive exams. Here you will find different questions, clear solutions, and the guidance you need to succeed. Subscribing is completely free. It is just your way of appreciating our work and supporting the channel. So don't forget to hit the subscribe button and let's learn together. Hello dear viewers, welcome to TV Math. This is your home for clear and practical mathematics lessons. In our today's session, we shall be handling UCE Mathematics 2025, item number 4. Before we start, if you haven't yet watched items 1, 2, and 3, please check them out using the links in the description within this same video. They will help you follow the pattern and build a strong understanding as we go through each of the items step by step. And remember to subscribe, to like and share this channel so you don't miss the upcoming uploads for items 5 and beyond. Subscribing is completely free of charge. Please kindly subscribe. So what is item number 4? Item number 4 is saying a certain school employed a new teacher of mathematics to help the senior forerunners to improve on their performance. Before the new teacher was employed, the analysis showed that the learners' mean score was 54% and 38% of the learners scored below the pass mark of 55%. The new teacher has taught for a full term and learners have been given an exam whose results are shown in the graph. So here we have a graph which is showing number of learners and their scores in mathematics. So this is the graph. And we are told that the number of learners is actually representing what we call the frequency. So we have got learners' scores which is representing the class boundaries. So the school needs help to analyze the results of the learner's performance shown on graph 1 and establish whether there is an improvement in the learner's performance basing on 1. The mean score of the results on graph 1 in comparison to the previous mean score, and 2. The percentage of learners below the school pass mark of 55%. So our task is to provide the school with the help they need. So what basically is the help? 1 is to find or to establish the mean score of the results from the graph given in comparison to the previous mean score. And 2 is to provide or to establish the percentage of learners who scored below the school pass mark of 55%. So basically, let us look at how best we can handle this given task. So to handle this, we shall come to the information given. We are told that before the mean score was 54% and 38% of the learners scored below the pass mark. We are given this graph. But how will this graph help us? 1, we are given the frequency. This is the frequency. And from there, we are given the learners' scores, which is acting as the what? The class boundary. So from this graph here, we can be in position to establish the frequency distribution table, which will be containing the scores of the learners, and the scores of the learners will be obtained from the class boundaries. The scores of the learners will be obtained from the class boundaries, then plus their corresponding frequencies. So the frequency is given here. So we are having the number of learners who scored between 14.5 to 24.5. We are having the number of learners who scored from 24.5 to 34.5. We are having the number of learners who scored from 35.5 to 44.5 and others. So since we have the different classes of the marks scored plus their frequency, we can be in position to establish what we call the frequency distribution table. So that is basically what we shall go for. But before looking at the response, it is important to note that within item 3 and 4, we are basically dealing with data and probability. And the topics under this, we have data collection, we have statistics, we have graphs, we have set theory, we have matrices, and probability. So that is basically what is expected out of the items 3 and 4. So far, we have looked at item 3, and basically, we looked at item 3 dealing with matrices and probability. So this item 4 is basically talking about data collection. We are talking about graphs and statistics. So let us, for the required response, we shall first of all have what we call a frequency distribution table. So here, let us have a frequency distribution table, a frequency distribution table. That is basically what we shall be looking at, frequency distribution table. And to have a frequency distribution table, we shall first of all let the runners as scores represent the classes. So the runner scores will be representing what we call the classes. So it means here we shall have the class and the corresponding frequency. So frequency, we shall be using F to represent the frequency. So basically, we need to come up with the classes and the frequency. So when you look at the graph that is given, we are actually given the runner scores, but these are class boundaries. Remember, class boundaries are obtained from what we call the classes. So if you have a class, let's take an example. You have your class 150 to 154, then 155 to 159. So here, if you need to establish what we call the class boundaries, then here you will look at the difference between 155 and 154. So the difference is of 1. So you get this 1, you divide it by 2, and you will get 0.5. So this 0.5 is the value that you will add on this one here, and you will subtract on this one here. So it means your class boundaries will be obtained as 149.5 to 154.5. Then this value will be the same as when you subtract 0.5 here, and again you will add 0.5 here, meaning this will still become 154.5 to 159.5. So these are what we call the class boundaries, and this is how you obtain the class boundaries. You simply look at what is the difference between these from one class to the other. So from this class then to this class. So the difference is of 1. So you get that 1, you divide it by 2. If the difference is of 0.5, you still get 0.5, you divide it by 2, like that. Or if the difference is of 0.1, you get that, you divide it by 5, you get the value that you will add here, you get the value that you would subtract here. So that is how we establish what we call the class boundaries. So when I have such a class boundary, if I need to obtain back the class, then it means this one here, they already added there 0.5, and to obtain this, we subtracted the number and we obtained 149.5. So when I have this one here, it means my class was, so here they added 0.5. So it means initially it was 154. And on this one here, to get this, they got some number X, they subtracted 0.5, and they got 149.5. So which means if I need to establish back, this, so here I simply subtract 0.5, and here I add 0.5. So it means when I subtract 0.5 from here, I get 154. If I add 0.5 here, I get 150. So I get back what we call the classes. So I hope this one is clear. So we shall use the same to establish what we call the classes. So we have from 14.5 to 24.5. So my first is 14.5 to 24.5. So looking at this, it means if I need to establish the classes back, I will simply subtract 0.5 here, and I add 0.5 here. So it means I will get from 15 to what we call 24. So this will be my class. So when you are given the class boundaries, instead you simply subtract here 0.5, add here 0.5, establish the what we call the classes. If you are given the classes, you need to get the class boundaries, you subtract here 0.5 and you add here 0.5, and you will come back with what we call the class boundaries. So from this, we shall now try to establish our classes. So the first one will be from 15 to 24. It means we shall have the first one as 15 to 24. So we shall have 15 to 24. So next one will be, this is 24.5 to 34.5. So 24.5 to 34.5, as we have seen, if you have 24.5 to 34.5, then it means this, you will add 0.5 here, you will subtract 0.5 here. So this will remain 24. You add 0, that will be 25, and this one here will be 34. So you have next from 25 to 34. So the next one is 25 to 34. So we have 25 to 34. So doing the same for the remaining ones, So the next one is from 34.5 to 44.5. So it means I will add 0.5 here, subtract 0.5 here. So this will be 35 to what we call 44. So we shall follow the same trend. So next we shall have 35 to 44. So I hope now it should be clear that the next will be 45 to 54. The next will be 55 to 64. The next one will be 65 to 70 to 74. The next one will be from 75 to the next one will be to 84. So far we have our classes, and these are the classes: 15 to 24, 25 to 34, 35 to 44, 45 to 54, 55 to 64, then 65 to 74, 75 to 84, then 85 to 94. So these are our classes. Now, from these classes, we need to obtain the corresponding frequencies. So we are told that the class which is 14.5 to 24.5 is having, this is 15, that is 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So the frequency will be 15. So we shall have the corresponding frequency as 15. So the next one, we have got 24.5 to 34, that is corresponding to frequency of 30. So next it is the frequency of 30. So next, from the same graph, we are having 34 to 34.5 to 44.5. This is corresponding to 10. So we shall have the next one as 10. So next we shall have the next class. This is 44.5, 54.5. It is corresponding to, this is 45. This one here is 45. So it is corresponding to 45. So next we need to talk about the next class, 55 to 64. 55, that is 54.5 to 64.5. This is corresponding to 90. So that is corresponding to 90. So this will give us 90 as the corresponding frequency. The next one, 65 to 74. This is the one, this class here, and it is corresponding to 50. So we shall have our next value as 50. So the next value would be, that is the class which is from 74.5 to 84.5, and that is corresponding to, let's move, this corresponding to this value here, which is 30. So this is corresponding to the value which is 30. So we shall have 30 here. And the last one is corresponding to this value here, which is actually 5. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is corresponding to 5. So the frequency here is 5. So what is the total frequency, or the summation of f? So the summation of f here will be, so summation of f, we need to add them up. So add all these ones together, and that will give us 275. So that will be the total frequency. So from here, after getting this, then we need to know what exactly do we need. So this is so far the information that is given. So what we need is to establish whether there is an improvement in learners' performance based on part 1, the mean score, of the results on graph 1 in comparison to the previous mean score. So we need to find the mean, then also the percentage of runners below the pass mark of 55%. So we need the percentage of runners below the pass mark of 55%. So the mean score here, we know how to obtain mean. To obtain mean, you must have what we call the midpoint. Then you also have the frequency. So we have the frequency. We can now talk about the midpoint. Since we are interested in getting mean, so the next thing to think about here should be getting what we call the midpoint. So we need to talk about the midpoint. So the midpoint will be represented by the value which we call x. So x represents the midpoint, f represents the frequency. So how do we get the midpoint? We get the midpoint by getting 15 plus 24 divided by 2. So get 15 plus 24 divided by 2. What you get becomes the midpoint of this class. So when you get 15 plus 24 divided by 2, you should be able to get the value which is 19.5, which is 19.5. So you do the same here, 25 plus 34 divided by 2, and you should be able to get 25 plus 34 divided by 2. You should be able to get 29.5. But there is a way we can easily do this. That is, if you know the interval between the classes, you can easily get all the remaining midpoints. So if you know the midpoint, how do we establish the midpoint? You get 24, you subtract 15, you add there 1. So this is 9 plus 1, that is 10. Or else, you can get the difference between the upper class boundary minus the lower class boundary. The lower class boundary for this is 14.5. The upper class boundary for this is 24.5. So when you get 24.5 minus 14.5, you should be also able to get 10. So after getting 10, simply add it there. That is when the interval is strictly the same. So clearly, we can see that the interval is strictly the same. So for that case, when you get 19.5 plus 10, you will get this. Plus 10, you will get 39.5. Plus 10, you will get 49.5. Plus 10, you will get 59.5. Plus 10, 69.5. Plus 10, 79.5. And plus 10, we get 89.5. So that these are what we call the midpoints. So from there, after getting the midpoint, we need to obtain the mean. And by definition of mean, it is summation of f of x divided by summation of x, by summation of f. So basically, we need next to get f of x. So let us multiply f with x. So you multiply 15 times that, you get the value. So we shall be multiplying together here. So we shall get 15 times 19.5 should be able to give us 292.5. This should be able to give us 885. This should be able to give us 395. We are multiplying this with this. This with this will give us 227.5. 90 times this will give us 5. Will give us 5, 3, 5, 5. Then 50 times 69.5 will give us 2,385. And 30 times 79.5 will give us 30. Okay. 50 times 69.5 will give us this will give us, so let's correct that. 50 times 69.5 will give us 60. 50 times 69.5 will give us 3,475. And 30 times 79.5 will give us 2,385. And 5 times 89.5 will give us 447.5. So that is basically what. So after getting f of x for each of the classes, we shall go on and get what we call the summation of f of x. So the summation of f of x is adding all these ones together, and that should give us 15,462.5. Now, having obtained the summation of f of x and the summation of f, we can now get what we call the mean. So what will be the mean value? So we can easily obtain the mean value. Part 1, remember, we need to obtain the mean value, then we compare it with the previous mean value. So let us look at how we can get the mean score. So the mean score, from the table. Let us get the mean score from the table. So what will be the mean score from the table? We know that mean by definition is same as summation of f of x over summation of f. So we have summation of f of x, which is actually same as 15462.5. Then we are dividing this by the summation of f, and the summation of f is same as 275. So this will give us a value which is same as 56. This value will be same as 56.227 then 3. This is the value that we shall get, and this value is approximately equal to 56%. This value is approximately equal to 56%. So that is basically what we shall have as our mean. So we have got our mean as approximately equal to 56%. So from here we need to obtain, we need to establish whether there is an improvement in the learner's performance basing on the mean score of the results on graph 1 in comparison to the previous mean score. So let us compare the two means, this mean and the previous mean score. So let us compare the two. We shall be saying that the mean score before the new teacher, the mean score before the new teacher was actually 54%. It was 54%, but what we are obtaining at the moment is 56. So we need to look at the difference between the mean scores. So let us talk about the difference between the mean scores. So what is the difference between the mean scores? So the difference will be same as getting 56% and subtracting 54%. So this will give us 2%. So this is the percentage improvement, meaning that the percentage improvement is 2%. So the percentage improvement is 2%. So initially it was 54, but after bringing the new teacher it is 56. So the percentage improvement is 2%. So from this we can give the conclusion. That basing on the mean scores, score of 56%, basing on the mean score of 56% obtained from the graph given, it can be noticed that there was an improvement. Of 2%. There was an improvement of 2% in performance. Of the students. In comparison to the previous mean score of 54%. So that is basically what we shall be able to respond to. So that is the response at part 1. That is the mean score of the results on graph 1 in comparison to the previous mean score. Let us now look at part 2. In part 2, we need to establish whether there is an improvement in the learner's performance basing on the percentage of learners below the school pass mark of 55%. So let us look at the required response. So here we have the class, and the class represents the scores of the students, and here we have the number of the students within this particular class. So next we need basically to determine the number of learners who scored below 55% first, such that it will help us to know the percentage. So to look at the number of learners who scored below 55%, we need to see, or to look at the classes we shall need to consider. Those are the classes below 55. So you can see that all those who scored from 55 and above, they are starting from this given class. 55 to 64, 90 students scored between 55% to 64%. Then those who scored below 55, it means they will be in these given classes: 45 to 54, 35 to 44, 25 to 34, then 15 to 24. These classes here from 15 to 54 are the classes where we have the learners who scored below 55, because all those who scored 55 and above are starting from here up to 94. So we shall say, let us first of all look at the percentage or the classes that we shall be considering. So we shall say that the percentage mark, we shall see the percentage mark interval, the percentage mark interval below the percentage mark interval below the pass mark, below the pass mark of 55%, below the pass mark of 55%, ranges from, they range from 15 to 54. So all those students who scored from 15 to 54 will be the students who scored below the pass mark. So all those who scored marks between 15 to 54 then will be the number of students who scored below the pass mark of 55%. So let us look at the total number of the students. So the total number of learners, total number of learners, total number of learners who scored below the pass mark, who scored below the pass mark will be, so let us look at those who scored below the pass mark. We have 15, those who got from 15 to 24. We have 30, we have 10, and 45. So we shall add those. So we shall add at 15 with 30 with 10 and lastly 45. So those are the students who scored below 55. That is 15 plus 30 plus 10 plus 45. So next we shall look at the total, that is 45, 55, 100. So 100 students scored below the pass mark. So next we need to look at the percentage of learners below the pass mark. Next we talk about the percentage of learners below the pass mark. So the percentage of learners below the pass mark, the percentage of learners below the pass mark. Below the pass mark is, so let us look at that. It will be same as the total number, it will be same as the total number of the students are below the pass mark, below the pass mark. We need to divide this by, the total number of students in the class. Total number of the students in the class. So we have seen, then we are getting the percentage, so we multiply by 100. So we have seen that 100 students scored below the pass mark, and we have the total number of the students in the class. We have the total number of the students in the class as 275. So this is over 275. We multiply this by 100. So this will give us about 36 point. This will give us 36.36, then 3, 6 again. So that is what we shall have. So this is also approximately equal to 36%. This is approximately equal to 36%. We shall therefore say, basing on 36% for the new performance of the students below the 55% mark, it can be noticed that more 2% of the students improved in the new performance as compared to the previous 80%. So you can easily see that previously the percentage was 38% of the learners had scored below 55%, but now the percentage has actually decreased. So it has decreased from 38% to 36%. So approximately 2% of the learners have improved their performance. So it means there is some improvement in the performance, also basing on the percentage of runners who got below the pass mark. So at this given point, we can see a few of the runners, that is 36%, got below a 55% pass mark as compared to the previous one where we had a 38%. So that is all about item number 4 for UNEB 2025. In case you find this video helpful, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Simply hit the subscribe button, share, like this video to your friends so it can help a wide range of students. This is where we shall stop for this video, and we meet in our next video, that is in item number 5.
Yeah.